Okay, this is a week 9 for Web290 PHP. The exercise this week, the practice lab, is string manipulation. PDF file here goes over string syntax, a couple tutorials here, W3 schools. And the exercise is to create a form that asks the user to input first and last name in that order in a text box. And when they click send, it's going to put the full name session variable to form 2, and then manipulate the session variable in form 2 to display today's date. Your full name is last name, comma, first name. Thank you, first name, for filling out the form. So here's the example here. I'll put in my first and last name, hit submit, today's date, full name is Conkle, comma, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck, for filling out my form. Code for this. Here is the main index.php form, form 1, and form action, it's going to go to string.php, post method, enter first and last name, input text, name equals full name, input type submit, and a submit button. So when they click it, it's going to go to click the submit button, it's going to go to the string.php. In the string.php, we're going to bring in the post full name and create a variable for that. Explode this variable using the explode function, and it's going to explode it by the space bar in between the names, and put it into the array split name. Then I'll echo today's date, a couple BR tags for formatting purposes, and then first name and last name. It's going to do reverse. We're going to do the array logic, which always starts with 0. So we're going to do your full name is, and then beginning quote, dot operator, and then here's the first array or second array, which is going to be split name 1 in brackets, dot operator, end quote, comma, beginning quote, dot operator, split name 0, which is going to be first, is going to be last. A couple more BR tags. Thank you. Here is the split name 0 for the first name. Fill in the form. So for this one here, the power on this one is explode. Exploding the string into an array. And once you explode that string into an array, then you can utilize each array instance in your code. So that's the practice example. The homework is to read Rocks chapter 5, and there's a source code at the bottom here. You'll click on for week 9. I want you to add 3 new descriptions, 3 new input boxes and descriptions. So right now, currently we've got phone number, SSN, and gender. Add 2 more, like maybe email, favorite color, because currently right now what it's doing is checking to see if the syntax of the phone number is correct using the preg match. If it is, it says the phone number is entered is valid. If it's not valid. SSN, preg match for that as well. Here's a preg match for SSN. And gender, preg match for that. And so you're going to have 2 more. Posting this to its own form. So let me show you this one. Currently right now, I'll go ahead and enter in a number maybe missing one character, one number here. We'll do that. Not valid. So that one's valid. Let's go to SSN. That one's valid. And let's put in something that's not valid. Not valid. And then lowercase m is not valid, uppercase m is valid. Lowercase f, not valid, uppercase f should be valid. So you're going to add two more fields to this exercise for validation purposes. Let's look at the code here. Again, it's located in one file. So beginning with on this one, you've got PHP code, which is your logic for the catch. The validation is actually built in the same file, same form as the form. So doing a self post. So we're going to use a couple of examples here, a couple of tests. This one here is going to first see if the form has been posted. Upon the first load, it's not going to be. So let's look at the actual form itself. We're doing a form post to index, which is this page here, index.php. The input type hidden, name posted, value true. This is going to only be fired if they hit the submit button. If they don't hit the submit button, then posted will not be set, and this will not, this whole if statement will not run. Okay? So let's look at the form. Currently got 3 validations it's performing. One is for phone number, and I'll just highlight the fields or the lines that actually are of importance. Phone number here, input type text, name equals phone underscore number, input type text, SSN for name, input type text, gender, and then it's submitting. So when I hit the validate button here, so I'll reload this page and show you. So when it loaded this page initially, no errors occurred or no catches occurred because it had not been posted yet. Okay. Once I click validate, notice nothing is in here. So because nothing is in here, nothing's going to show up as an error. You'll notice on all the if statements, if whatever variable name it is not equal to empty quotes, phone number not equal to empty quotes, SSN not equal to empty quotes, gender not equal to empty quotes, then it's going to fire the prig match. Okay, so they submit it, does a self post to the page, brings in phone number, SSN, and gender. If that phone number is not equal to empty quotes, it's going to do a prig match to against this regex string that performs to make sure this phone number is a valid phone number using the variable for phone number. If it is, it says it's valid. If it's not valid. Same with SSN. Here's a prig match for SSN. And also the prig match for gender. And the gender has to be caps M or caps F. So on phone number, you'll notice in the field to the left, the label, give an example always on any form that you design of what the user should input. So you'll notice I put dashes in between the example. If they do not put dashes in the field, then it's going to show as not valid, because in the preg match, dashes are required for the phone number. Okay. Same with the SSN. Dashes are required. So if I put our dashes in there, and it validates. So preg match, if you need to look back there, as far as on preg match, a few weeks back we did a preg match lab. In fact, I believe I gave an example of a website. Let's go back here and look. Week 8 or week 7, I believe it is. Yeah, week 7, I give a website you can go to that gives all the different preg match examples. And so I'll open up this link here. I think at the bottom I give a preg match. Yeah, this regex .library gives tons of examples of regex examples along with the code that you would need to use. So for this one right here, for regex tester, you can actually do a tester to select your engine. Let's go with another one. Browse expressions. Here we go. So this one here matches a valid email address, including IPs, which are rarely used. Expression of 1 or 2 used to check email address syntax. So a whole bunch of different ones that you could utilize for validating emails, validating phone numbers, IP addresses. So in the example for this week has, I believe, the SSN, phone number, and gender. You can do any 2 other that you would like. And using the preg match, it can be either preg match, which would probably be the best way to do it for string manipulation input validation. So for instance, using the example here for the gender, using upper or lowercase, to validate input, like for instance, if you were going to do one of favorite color, you could validate just like here in gender, make sure that there's something in the text. If this one was, say, color, if it is empty quotes, you would basically say this text box is required, color is required. Same with if it was email that's required, which isn't in this list, you could add that. And also email validation, I believe we did on last week's week 8 on error handling. Did an email validation in the actual code for validation. for preg match. The preg match for email, preg match for your website, preg match for phone number. So you can choose whichever two new fields you want to add. Or three new fields, I'm sorry, three new fields that you want to add to this example. And here's a current example, which has three fields. You got three more fields. So that's phone number, SSN, and gender. It might be website, email, and maybe favorite color. On website and email, you can use the regex for that. For favorite color, just make sure that the text box has something in it. And so for validation for that, pretty easy. I'll go ahead and do one on this one here. Let's go ahead and add a new one here, right underneath gender. I'm going to add a new one here. We'll just say favorite color. And I'm going to put the name for this color and add a new if logic here. And also add a new variable, bring it over. Color is going to be a built-in keyword reserve, so let me do something. Let me rename that from color to fade color. So I won't be using a reserved PHP word. There we go. So in this one right here, we're going to do if color. Instead of not equals to 0, I'm just going to do is equal to 0. And we don't need this nested if statement. So I'm going to just get rid of the nested if. And just change the message here. Entered is, instead of valid, I'm just going to repeat that. And if they didn't enter in anything in the field and hit submit, I'm going to say the color field is required. So I've got my if path is my left bracket, right bracket. Save that. And let me go ahead and put this into a test environment here real quick. And we'll put it in just put it in week 9 here. Web290 week 9. I'm going to start up XAMPP. Let's go ahead and browse out there. There we go. Here's a new favorite color. I'm going to leave it empty on purpose. Say this color field is required. I'm going to put something in there. Look at my logic here. I'm going to leave it not equals to, but it should be not equals to empty quotes. There we go. There we go. Color you entered is green. Enter nothing in. Color field is required. So easily adding one more field, and then maybe you can do an email and possibly a website. Once you finish that, upload that as always to your external site in week 9. Kind of looking ahead a little bit. Once you've submitted it below here, upload it to week 9. Go ahead and submit it below as always. But we'll look ahead because you do have your final coming up pretty quick. We're in week 9. Next week we'll be going over PHP Profiles. On this one here, there's no practice lab. You go right into looking at profile setups, and there's a setup program already created in PHP that has modules to a website, like a CMS module type. And users have the ability to log in, register their information, like currently this is what it looks like, and say they go in here and register, which a lot of PHP sites will do. I'll go ahead and put in here tester information. And I'll put in my real email address and phone number. They select a theme which gives different colors. I'll go ahead and add all the modules to show you what it looks like. So it's tester, tester, tester username, tester password. Hit submit. It's updating the database. Coming back, now when I log in with tester, tester, it now gives all the modules that I added in. By default, just homepage and about. But now we've got member page, blog, a forum, a weather page, and a calendar. Okay, and so this is used a lot in PHP, user personalization. So we'll be doing that next week, and you'll be playing around with that. You'll extract this beginning file I gave you, edit your configuration file to your external site, and then here's some links to different modules you could add, like forum, weather, movie search, calendar. So we'll be doing that next week on week 10. Week 11, looking at image galleries, which is popular also on websites. They do a practice lab for this one, and basically unzipping gallery and looking at it on your local host and uploading pictures, playing with it. And for homework, you're doing a going to the gallery.monato.com and downloading that gallery and making your own online gallery picture site, basically. So that's week 11. And this is building up to your final on different implementations. Then week 12, CMS Content. This one, no lab. You're going right into content management system, downloading and playing with a number of examples, and then choosing one that you like above and implementing into week 12. And then week 13 is where you actually begin presentation work for your final. Here's some source code examples of things you could include in your final presentation. When you create your final website, think of something for business, something personal. In the past, students have created garden sites for garden clubs, photo sites for photo clubs, recipe website for users to add recipes, family sites for users from their family to enter in blog information, pictures, Facebook type website. So just a couple of examples of what students have done in the past. But here's some examples of that you can download and look at. And week 13 and 14, you'll work on your final presentation. On week 13, this is just a file telling you what I'm looking for in your final site. A database, tables with data, user interaction, an image page of some type, validation of some type, and it can be multiple places. A validation, a message board of some type, like a contact board, message board, and user personalization. Now there is some examples of final site that prior students have done. At the very top here on the Web290 course site, if you launch the site here, let's go there real quick. There's like for instance David's website, it's a good example. Natalie's final site, Nicole's final site. Good examples of what can be done. So when you go to our website, you can look at them there. And again, Nicole, Alicia, and David all have good examples of what the final sites could look like. Because on the last week of class, which is week 15, you'll be meeting at my house. I'll have you submit the URL on week 15 to your final site, and then show up the house. We'll have pizza and snacks, and you can email me what snack you're going to bring between now and then, and we'll get together and look at everyone's site. Tell us the challenges and the tools and tricks that you learned to create the final site, and that'll complete Web290. So again, it's wrapping up pretty quick. It's going to go, week 15 will be here before you know it. So a pretty good idea to be thinking of a kind of website that you want to create. Look at some examples. If you have a question that you want to throw out at me as far as what type of websites you are thinking about creating, what kind of website you're thinking about creating, just go ahead and email me. I'd be more glad to help you. Well, that concludes week 9, string manipulation and input validation. Make sure, as always, to read your practice lab PDF file and the tutorials before you actually begin any of the practice lab or homework. Have a great week.